probably seen this before. It's kind of creepy, right? One minute, you've got this perfect, glossy bar of chocolate, and the next, it's covered in this weird, chalky, ghostly film that seems to have come from nowhere. So, yeah, let's really look at this. On one side, you have the promise, right? That gorgeous, flawless bar of chocolate we all hope for. But then, you get the reality. The same bar, but now it's got this film. It looks, I don't know, spoiled? Maybe even a little moldy? So what is going on here? And here's the thing that really gets you. This isn't just a problem for, cheap chocolate. No way. This happens to the good stuff. We're talking expensive, artisan, super carefully made chocolate. You can have a whole box, and one bar will be perfect, while the one right next to it goes all pale and weird. So that really brings us to the core mystery here. When chocolate turns white, what are you actually looking at? Is it what you think it is? All right, before we solve this thing, let's do what any good detective would do. Let's eliminate the usual suspects. Because when most people see this, their brain immediately jumps to a few conclusions that seem totally reasonable, but are almost always wrong. Okay, suspect number 1, mold. I mean, it makes sense, right? It totally looks like some kind of contamination. But nope. In pretty much all cases, that's not what's going on. Nothing new has actually grown on the chocolate. All right, so if it's not mold, maybe it's just old, right? It's expired, it's gone bad. But again, that's usually not it either. Sure, chocolate can get stale, but this white stuff, it's not necessarily a sign that it's past its prime. And then there's a big one, the assumption that, it must be poor quality. Cheap ingredients, badly made. But like we already said, this happens to the fanciest, most expensive bars you can buy. So the key takeaway here is this has nothing to do with how good the chocolate was to begin with. So if it's not mold, not age, and not bad quality, what in the world is it? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Check out this quote. "The white layer is usually not an invader. It is the chocolate itself." Whoa. So the change isn't something from the outside, it's coming from within the chocolate. Okay, so let's get into the actual science here. What we're seeing is a phenomenon called bloom, and it turns out there are actually 2 different types. So what is bloom? It's actually pretty simple when you break it down. It's when the fat or the sugar crystals that are already inside the chocolate decide to separate, travel up to the surface, and then they reform as that pale, dusty film. So it's not an invasion, it's a reorganization. So let's meet our 2 culprits. First up, you've got fat bloom. This one is caused by heat, getting too warm, then too cool. It looks kind of waxy, maybe a little smooth, and that's literally the cocoa butter fat moving around. Then you've got its partner in crime, sugar bloom. This one's caused by moisture. It looks more dry and grainy, and that's from sugar crystals doing their own thing on the surface. So how does fat bloom actually happen? It's a chain reaction. Step 1, the chocolate gets a little too warm. That causes the perfectly stable structure of the cocoa butter to kind of melt and loosen up. Step 2, that liquid fat migrates up to the surface. And finally, when it cools down again, it re-solidifies, but in this new, messy, disorganized pattern. The analogy of candle wax softening and then hardening in a weird shape is perfect. Okay, and what about sugar bloom? This one's all about moisture. Imagine a tiny bit of condensation, like dew, forming on the chocolate. That little bit of water is enough to dissolve the sugar that's right on the surface. Then the water evaporates, right? But it leaves the sugar behind, which reforms into these new, tiny crystals that you can see. It's exactly like spilling sugary water on your counter. When it dries, you get that white, crusty patch. All right, so we know our enemies, heats and moisture. But here's where it gets kind of ironic. Sometimes the things we do to prevent the problem can actually make it worse. And that brings us to the #1 place we all put food to keep it safe, the fridge. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, right? To stop fat bloom, you got to avoid heat. So the fridge must be the safest place for chocolate, yeah? Keep it cool, keep it stable. Problem solved. Yeah, not so fast. Here's the backfire. When you take that nice cold chocolate out of the fridge into a warmer room, what happens? Condensation. Instantly. And what did we just learn that moisture causes? Yep, sugar bloom. So in trying to solve one problem, you've literally created the other one. Okay, but let's get to the question that's probably on everyone's mind. Can't I still eat it? Is it safe?
And the answer is a big yes. Almost always, it is perfectly safe to eat. Bloom is a quality issue, not a safety issue. The texture might be a little weird, maybe a bit gritty or waxy, and that satisfying snap you get from a good bar, that might be gone. But it is still chocolate.
But wait, there's one last twist to this story. We've been talking all about external forces, heat and moisture from the outside world. But sometimes the problem isn't what happened to the chocolate, it's about what's happening inside it. This is the twist from within. And this quote just nails it. The bar can look like something attacked it from the outside when the disruption actually started within.
So what on earth does that mean? Well, think about filled chocolates. You've got other stuff in there, other fats and oils. The fat from a peanut butter cup, the oils from a hazelnut praline, those fats can actually migrate, slowly moving out of the filling and into the chocolate shell. They disrupt that perfect cocoa butter structure from the inside out, causing a fat bloom that has absolutely nothing to do with the temperature in your room.
And that right there is the biggest takeaway. We think of chocolate as this solid, stable, finished thing. But bloom is the ultimate proof that it's actually a super delicate, dynamic substance. It's almost alive in a way.
So the next time you open up a bar of chocolate and see that ghostly white film, your first question shouldn't be what landed on this. It should be what moved inside this. Because that strange coating, it's almost never an invader. It's just the chocolate itself, beautifully and sometimes frustratingly, just falling out of formation,